we now have results in the key Alaska elections that we have been looking at for over 3 weeks now. Frankly, another defeat for Trumpism in a usually reliable red state. The two races that we were looking at were the only House seat in Alaska where their open field was Democrat Mary Peltola, who is currently serving her term after winning a special election because the longtime rep Don Young died um earlier in 2022 due to age, and she was going up against former Alaska governor and former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin, as well as Republican um, Nick Begich, who's had more local presence in in state politics for a while, um, and a few other candidates that didn't have any chance of winning, and in the Senate, anti-Trump, pro-Mitch McConnell Republican Lisa Murkowski, who often votes bipartisan on bills in comparison to her Republican colleagues. She was facing up against a Trump-backed opponent, Kelly Shabaka, who who seemed to have a lot of steam after many Republicans nationwide and in Alaska were angry with Lisa Murkowski for voting to impeach Trump because of the January 6th insurrection, and in another quite resounding and embarrassing defeat for the MAGA movement led by Trump. Both of the more left candidates have won both of these elections. The reason this took so long was because Alaska has a system called ranked choice voting, you don't only pick one candidate for each race. Instead, for each seat that's available, you rank the candidates in order between for which ones you would like to see serving up to a certain number. I think you rank your top three, and the way it works is if no one gets 50% of the vote immediately, then they do a systematic process where the candidate with the least amount of first place votes gets eliminated, and then the people who voted for that candidate, their second place votes go to get distributed amongst the candidates who they voted for. For say 60% of the people who voted for a candidate that only got 1% of the vote in the general election voted 60% of those people had their second option to be Mary Peltola for the House, then that means all of those 60% of the votes that were originally the second place votes for the candidate that got crushed in the race, they transferred to Mary Peltola, and then so on and so forth. So, and that process continues until there's only two candidates left, and then the winner is decided there based on who has more votes. And in both of these cases, this process went through, and Mary Peltola, the Democrat, and Lisa Murkowski, the moderate anti-Trump Republican, coming out on top. So another shocker for Trumpism and another bad defeat for their record that they were not looking to see, but certainly an interesting result in Alaska that we now know after weeks and weeks of waiting.